Everybody ready for the most part? I want to thank you for coming out today. It's Reverend Jarrett Maupin. Unfortunately, Attorney Benjamin Taylor has been delayed. He had a flat tire and has been a bit delayed. He may join us here in the next few minutes, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We're here today because we're formally announcing the notice of claim that was filed actually on Friday of last week against the City of Phoenix, against the Phoenix Police Department, members of the Phoenix Police Department, and this coming week an additional notice of claim that will be filed against the ATF for the role that those agencies played in violating the civil rights of this young man to my right. Dion is 19, and in January, police allegedly mistaken him for an older brother who he looks nothing like. Now, we've had the chief, we've had other people make some statements of regret with respect to attempting to pass Dion off as his brother. This young man is, he's innocent. He's not accused of committing any crime. He's not accused of violating any city ordinance. He didn't do anything wrong. He was walking his younger siblings to school when police attacked him for no legitimate reason. Not only did he have ID on him and would he have been fully compliant, but they decided to shoot him, with rubber bullets to the chest and rubber bullets to his genital area. This young man is 120 pounds. He is a survivor and lives every day with the pain and uncertainty that comes with sickle cell anemia, a very deadly disease for African Americans. Some in my own family have suffered with it. It's extremely painful. The attack, the assault that the officers engaged in when they shot him with flash grenades and took him down to the ground like he was on somebody's most wanted list. It caused him to be in the hospital for nearly a month. It maybe exceeded a month. And even now, he potentially will have to have heart surgery to address what's going on with him. He was a patient at Phoenix Children's Hospital. The surgeons there, the heart specialists there, everybody there squarely lays the blame for Dion's medical condition on the Phoenix Police Department. He's not out of the woods yet. What they did to him, and we know he's strong and will pull through. I have all faith in God that he will preserve this young man. But the damage they did to him is going to cause him to have to go into major surgery with respect to his heart. So he's not even out of the woods yet. The police, they're just wrong in this situation. The officers who were involved, we demand that they be fired. We demand that they be held accountable. Today, a letter will go out to Alistair Adele, who is running for county attorney and is the incumbent appointee to the office, asking her to take another look. I'm going to reach out to my good friend Mark Brnovich, our Attorney General, to see what his office can do in this situation to hold these officers accountable. They attacked this innocent young man who has not, again, been involved in any sort of criminal activity. He's medically fragile. He hardly ever leaves his bedroom. And for them to abuse him in the ways that they did, it's just shocking. It's disgusting. It's disturbing. We're also making a demand today, along with the $11.5 million demand, that the Phoenix Police Department release to the attorneys and to the family the police report. We've asked nicely. We filed every Freedom of Information Act request. We filed formally with the city. We've asked members of the city council, give us the damn police report for the Dion Humphrey attack, because we need to know what's going on, and so do members of the media. The chief talks about transparency. She came and marched in the street with marchers. One of the officers took a knee. It all doesn't mean a damn thing so long as we can't get information like the police report for innocent Dion Humphrey, who was attacked by Phoenix police, shot with rubber bullets in the heart and in the groin, taken down to the ground, again, like some dangerous threat to society, shot with flash grenades, and hospitalized for a month because they acted on inaccurate information. It's just shocking. Never seen anything like this happen to anybody who wasn't a person of color. And we are demanding justice, which is why this family has filed this $11.5 million notice of claim. We're going to hear from Dion and how he's feeling about this, but before we hear from him, we're going to hear from his father, because his father, too, is a part of that claim. And I just respect this family so much for wanting justice, not simply for being angry and outraged, which they're justified for being, but for demanding justice, because what happened to Dion is shameful, and the police department, there's no excuse for it. There's absolutely no excuse for what happened to him. We want the report. We want the body camera footage. We need the information so that the public can know what this police department is capable of, how they hurt this young man.
Let me get your full name, sir.
My name is William Humphrey.
If you can get a little closer.
My name is William Humphrey. I'm the father of Dion Humphrey. And I'd like to say that the police department are public servants. They're supposed to be in line with fire department and paramedics. They're not supposed to be out damaging and killing people. They're not. It's the opposite of what they're actually supposed to be doing. We, the citizens, we pay their pensions. We pay for everything for them. But they come out, and instead of protecting us, they destroy us. Dion is completely innocent. He's never hurt a fly. He may be the most innocent person that's been because of his condition, because he has sickle cell anemia. Bullies don't even bother with Dion. Everyone understands he's very fragile. Yet, when the police saw him walking down the street, for one reason or another, they treated him as if he was some type of a huge threat. They didn't give him any demands. They didn't say stop, freeze, with the police. They simply threw flash grenades out of their vehicle. And then they shot him. They shot him in the heart, and they shot him near his genitals. And they were just trying to inflict pain. That was the purpose. They were trying to inflict pain. Now, I personally believe if he wasn't an African American, this would not have happened to him. When you see Dion walking down the street, he has a staggered walk because of his condition. They have to have seen that he is not a threat. Whatever they were trying to do, they were not looking for him. They've admitted to that. However, they questioned him when he was in critical condition. They did not give him any the necessary medical attention that he was begging for. He was under the impression that he was going to die. He's told me that several times. He was under that impression because of his sickle cell. He was having a sickle cell crisis. They put him into a crisis. They shot him in his heart, and it caused his heart to be inflamed, and fluid built up in his heart. And Reverend Maupin is completely correct. The surgeon told us that after the fluids left his heart, that scar tissue now remains, and that needs to be removed. So they will be having open heart surgery, and this only happened because he was dropping his sisters off at school. He was walking his sisters to school. What nation is that okay, where my son can't drop his little sisters off at school? He's never been in trouble with anyone in his life. He hardly ever leaves the house. Friends may come by and they might go outside and play, but because of his condition, he stays home. He plays video games in the house. The only reason why he was outside of the house at all was a brief period to take his little sisters a couple of blocks around the corner.
Let me also say this. When they shot him with the rubber bullets and the flash grenades and burnt him and damaged his body, not only did they not immediately take him to the hospital, where he was subsequently admitted in critical condition, But before he was able to get proper medical attention, they questioned him as a minor without the presence of his father or attorney, number one. And number two, they questioned him for between 4 and 6 hours. So he was in need. He was in need of emergency medical care, and they denied him that. And it's shameful. They violated every known policy and procedure for that scenario, and it's just a mystery to me how these officers haven't been held accountable by this chief who says she's a black mother of black sons. Well, here's a black son, and he's completely innocent and vulnerable. I mean, probably the most vulnerable kind of person we have in our community. You know, this is. He doesn't have tattoos. He weighs 120 pounds or less. He doesn't have dreadlocks. Never did have them. So he's not the person that they were looking for. Not even remotely close to being the person they're looking for. And for the police to say back when they did at the time that I guess all blacks look alike is their excuse for why Dion got attacked. I mean, that is so outmoded and so, you know, it's just flat on its face. So we're demanding that the city release that report immediately, so that we can, you know, find out everything we need to find out about the people who were wrong in this instance, and that's all those officers who were involved.
Why are they refusing to release a report?
That's right. Not even a preliminary report. I mean, there's nothing. There's a file number, but they're not releasing anything. What are they hiding? What is it that they don't want us to know about what they did to Dion Humphrey? That's what we want to know from the chief and the mayor and everybody who allegedly cares about victims of police brutality and excessive force. What about this kid? Do we have to get him out of his recovery bed or away from the safety of his home? Does he really have to come all the way down to a city council meeting tomorrow or the day after to demand that the facts of his case be released so he can have justice? I think it's a travesty and a miscarriage of justice, and until we have transparency, we've got a conflict on our hands, and it's not the only one. It's going to get worse for them this week, I promise you. So, Dion, you want to let them know how you feel?
As I was walking to home from my school, I seen these two under-5 cops coming at me, and there's one coming towards me, and there's one coming from the back of me. I heard a loud explosion, and then I started to take off. I started to run. As I turned around, I seen another cop who pulled out a gun and shot me in my chest with a rubber bullet. I then fell to the floor with my hand on my stomach, and started to feel like I was gonna die. And then I told the police if I can call my mom. I told them that I couldn't breathe, and I told them that I needed help. But then they told me that I had the right to remain silent. And as I was on the floor with a bunch of weight pushed on me, I started to tear up and think that this might be my last day. They lift me up and they took me to the police truck and they shut the door. I was thinking in my mind that I wasn't gonna live. They was gonna take me to somewhere else. They wasn't gonna let me see my family again. So they then took off in the car and they took me to the police station where they started to ask me questions. I showed them my wound and I told them that I'm bleeding and I needed help. They told me that I had to answer the questions before I can leave. So then I felt sad and I felt emotionally, I felt physically mad. I felt upset about the situation. And I told the police that I'm hurting, and I told them that the explosion, they told me later then that the explosion was a flash grenade. And then they hit me near my genitals, and I felt like I was weak and I couldn't walk straight. As I told the police if I can go home after I was asking for help, they told me that I need to sit down and take a breath. I started crying, I started feeling desperate, and I felt alone, and I was scared. I told them if I can call my mom. When I was getting investigated, I told them if I can call my mom, and they said when you get home. So then I started to cry, and they came then and then grabbed me, and they said I'm able to go now. As I was walking slow, I told the police that my leg was hurting and I couldn't walk as fast. He started to shove me and said to go faster if I want to go home. So then I felt like he wasn't going to take me home, and I felt like he was going to kill me somewhere. And as I felt desperate, I was walking with him, and as we got to the car, he opened the door for me, and then he was talking to me. He was telling me that if I wanted to go home, that I should tell the truth to them and tell them that if I'm the person they're looking for. So we drove home, and I told them that I wasn't the person that they was accusing me I was. As I started to drive home, as they started to driving me home, I seen my family, and I seen them crying towards me. And then I started crying, and then as they was helping me out of the police car, and I couldn't walk, I was hurting, they sat me down in the house, and they put me down on a chair, and they started to take pictures of my wound. When my dad got home, we went to the hospital, and I was in there for 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
That's just sort of recap of what happened. The first time anyone's heard from Dion, how traumatizing that event was, and then for the police not to take him to the hospital. We've talked about that with the family, but to try to return him home as though they didn't do anything to him in the midst of a medical crisis. He truly, and we'll see what we can do about having his doctors come out. There's a wonderful cardiologist in the Valley that's going to weigh in on this thing too. His life was really hanging in the balance, and police did absolutely the wrong thing. Are there any questions for Dion or his father? We'll take them directly.
Our hope comes that we should have peace and equality, and that we should all live freely, and we shouldn't have to worry about getting hurt out of nowhere and expecting to change our personalities for how the police sees us.
How do you think they could have handled it better?
I think they could have told me to stop. I think they could have put their sirens up. I think they should have just waved at me instead of opening the door and shooting at me right when they saw me.
What's it like to not know more information about why this happened to you, about the police report or even the officer's names?
It feels like they're trying to hide, and it feels like I'm not gonna have peace, and it feels sad and depressing at sometimes.
For some of the lasting damage that this has done, do you have any
Yeah, I feel towards the police that I'm not safe. Every single time I see them, my heart will start to race, and I will start to feel like I'm panicking. And it's hard for me to recover, and I need surgery immediately. And it's scary.
Again, to reiterate, he has to have open heart surgery to repair scar tissue from having his heart shot at point blank range by a rubber bullet. That's, for a sickle cell patient, that's a worst case scenario. I mean, it's unthinkable what they did.
Dion, just how are you feeling now physically?
How I feel now? I feel like I'm opening up to the world and how I feel about the police, and I'm feeling released.
But how are you feeling physically? You have more energy now, or
I have injury. Every single time I fall asleep, I wake up with a panic, and my heart will hurt painfully. I have to take pain medicine to fall back to sleep. And my leg is still recovering. It hurts a little bit when I walk, but it doesn't bother me as much.
and just to be clear, this is the first time that you've publicly come out and told your story.
Yes.
Any more questions? Well, we sure thank you for coming out today. And please join us. We make the appeal to the media to join us in the request for the police report in this case. It's just a shame we don't have it yet. It's been 6 months.
Dion is asking for support. We have a GoFundMe. So please reach out to us on the GoFundMe and show your support under Dion Humphrey. Thank you.
Thank you.